Planning Commission meeting. Today is Thursday, May 21st, 2026. May I please have a roll call?
Member Bacha, absent. Member Devlin?
Present.
Member Duncan?
Here.
Member Tominello?
Here.
Member Mulder?
Here.
Member Oparka, here. Chair Murray?
Present? And it's noted that Mr. Batcha, I'm sorry, did I miss that? Mr. Batcha is excused.
Excuse, yeah.
Thank you. May I have approval of the agenda as presented, please? Modified and presented.
I'll make that motion.
I'll support.
Motion by Ms. Oparka, seconded by Ms. Devlin. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. May I have approval of the minutes from our April 16th, 2026 meeting, please?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Ms. Devlin. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Sorry, I'm used to having an agenda to write on, so I'm a little out of it today. Okay.
Would you like one?
Do you have an extra copy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, you know what?
I'll go get you one.
That would be, thank you. Our first hearing and review tonight, Ms. Oparka?
Case number 13-26-S, Boaz Enterprise LLC, Jefferson, parcel number 17-12-21-103-012, Harrison Township.
Okay. Site plan review to build a 24-unit boat, RV storage condominium. Is the applicant present? Hi. Want to go ahead and come up and tell us who you are and explain a little bit?
My name's Paul Agler. I'm the owner and president of Boaz Enterprise LLC and lifelong resident of Harrison Township. We're proposing, and Mike Pizzo is
Pizzola, Design House Architecture, landscape architect.
Run that again, please?
Mike Pizzola, Design House Architecture,
Okay.
landscape architect.
Thank you.
I don't know if you need it. My address is 38546 Lakeshore Drive, Harrison Township. But I've lived in the township my whole life and realized that, we got in the subdivision that I live in, there's 830 homes in that sub, and then on the other side of 16 Mile, there's more than that. But everybody seems to live on a postal-sized lot, and because we're confined by the water and stuff, and it just seems like there's a big need. You can't find storage anywhere, and with the people needing storage, this is what we're developing: is these 3 buildings. They're 24 units. It's just going to be a high-end. I want it to be a high-end unit, and that people can store their valuable boats, maybe cars, RVs, that kind of thing. And I think it's going to be a good thing for the township to, get some of the clutter off some of the houses and stuff that people want to store things. So.
Okay, thank you. Okay, why don't you take a seat and we'll address the various teams. The engineer's requirements. By the way, I want to take this opportunity to welcome our new engineering team, Fishback, Mr. Lepek, who's in our audience tonight, and Mr. Kammer, who is at our table tonight, and one of the two will be representing our team each week. So welcome. Glad to have you. Okay, so are you able to talk about some of the items, short summary of your findings, please?
Sure, thank you, Chair. We did look at the plans submitted by the applicant. At this time, we typically look for engineering feasibility, making sure that items that are needed for their engineering review down the road are covered, and there are no red flags at this time. 2 items that we noticed that we would like to note here is with the water main shown on site. Their water main shown on site differs from what the township GIS shows. So there's just some coordination that needs to happen to make sure that it's shown as shown on the plans, and if need to be adjusted, can be adjusted, but no concerns with the layout that they're showing at this time. They will be able to get water on site. They're not showing any sanitary service to the buildings, no bathrooms or anything in these, correct?
Well, there will be bathrooms in the, and there will be, you know, tapping into the sanitary sewer that runs along. Just trying to get out of the gas station.
No, and actually what we'll do is we'll go through each one of the pieces and then we'll address the questions I'll give you an opportunity to address it in bulk. So pay attention. Take notes. No.
Yeah. So apologies, yeah. So the plans currently don't show sanitary service, but there is sanitary service within the vicinity, so there should be no issue getting it there. But at this time, we would like to see what the plan is, where the sanitary taps are, and where you plan to tap the sewer so that we can verify that there's no concerns and that you have the proper depth and everything that you need to get there. And then the only other concern that we had is the stormwater management. The plans do indicate that they are tapping or discharging into what would be like a regional pond, an existing pond. Typically, when we see something along these lines, we like to see that the pond was sized appropriately for the site. So when you submit for engineering review, if you can submit also that showing those calculations, and then obviously the county will have to approve your discharge into the existing pond that's on the site. Other than that, we don't see anything else, and we would recommend, moving to the next steps for engineering.
Okay, thank you. I see the fire marshal, no issues.
So,
Oh, I'm sorry, wait a minute. Yes, you did have issues, requirements.
so I have no issues with the site plan as presented. However, the applicant should know that because the application showed boat storage, NFPA 303, which is adopted by the township, references boat storage, a boat storage code. And with that being said, these buildings exceed that threshold, and it's going to have to be suppressed and/or fire detection. And that's something we can talk about later. But I just wanted to make the applicant aware that that is going to be a requirement for this site.
Thank you. We received an indication from the Macomb County Department of Roads. They don't have any objection. Macomb County Public Works Office, they're requesting a meeting to discuss stormwater management since the property is greater than an acre large. So that's something that you'll have to put on the schedule. And planner, and I should have started with you, but my notes were backwards tonight.
No worries.
So, Mr. Young.
Yep, so hopefully you had a chance to take a look at our review letter. A couple things that I wanted to bring up. First, that this is a site plan review for property that was conditionally rezoned to the industrial district not long ago. So site plan review, the final authority for approval or denial of the site plan rests with the planning commission. And there's, being just a site plan, there's no public hearing officially this evening. The conditional rezoning, when we, as part of their rezoning request to the industrial district, they offered, and the township board ultimately accepted the conditions from the applicant. And so we always want to double check and make sure that what they're showing on the site plan matches what they may have promised, so to speak, as part of their conditions. So their conditions were adopted by the township board, I think, a couple months ago now. A couple of things that I would like them to note, or really just acknowledge and confirm on their site plan that they will be in compliance with these conditions. So first, one of their conditions was that the property shall only be used as a multi-unit storage facility for the purpose of storing boats, RVs, cars, and other items. So just a note added to the site plan
Declaration.
confirming that that's all that will be allowed to be stored. Second, you had offered that the development will have a nautical themed sign adhering to the township's guidelines and located on the 16-mile frontage. That would be along Metro Parkway. They are proposing a sign, but you don't have it there, you have it in the northeast corner of the site. So per your condition, that sign would need to be relocated. Or maybe have another sign, but along that frontage as well. So that's really a minor change to the site plan there. You had also indicated that the storage facility will be privately owned and governed by essentially an association that would take care of that. So that is something else we'd like to have acknowledged on the site plan. And then finally, you've committed to no permanent domicile occupancy of any of the units. And so that also should be noted on the site plan. So essentially, following through, making a paper trail of those conditions that were approved. Other than that, I have a comment on the screening required in the side yards. So you've got commercial adjacent both to the west and the east. Where that occurs, the ordinance says that there should be a minor screening mechanism that consists of a 10-foot wide green belt, which they've provided, but it also consists of maybe, I think it's 1 tree per 35 feet of length. So you'll just need to add those trees along the side yards. Second note is on one of the plan sheets, they actually had a note for a dumpster location, an enclosed dumpster. But it was just a label, and I think that maybe was an initial version, and the label stuck because there is no location shown for a dumpster. I don't know, and this would be something worth the planning commission discussing with the applicant as to whether they believe they need a dumpster on the site. And I know we've had conversations internally about that, and I think you have reasons why you don't think makes sense to do so given the nature of the use. But planning commission, that would be something you should discuss with the applicant. And then finally, I kind of noticed the same thing as the engineer about this, not having a sanitary sewer connection. But I did see one of your plan sheets did show a bathroom or a restroom, and so it made me wonder as well, are you planning to have restrooms in these units? And the applicant has indicated that they are. So, yeah, there's nothing on the site plan, at least now, as to how you're going to hook up to sewer for that. And then I think that also having a restroom and that kind of a thing impresses upon the need to make sure that note about nobody residing in each unit is going to be really important here. And that even the homeowners association or the association, whatever structure, management structure you establish,
clear.
is making that clear to their tenants.
We would get a copy of that as we get closer to the project.
I would think so, yeah. So I don't have any significant items. Again, the question about the dumpster, the notes that are added, having a sign added to the 16-mile frontage, and the trees along the side yards. If you have any questions for me, I'd be glad to try and answer.
I don't remember the signage. I don't recall the signage.
That was added post-planning commission, but
By the township.
before the
board.
township.
Oh.
It was offered by the applicant between the planning commission recommendation and when the township board ultimately accepted the conditional rezone. And it's in the minutes. I double-checked and triple-checked. It's in the minutes of the board meeting as part of the motion of approval.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't recall that conversation, so I was just making sure.
It's going to be in the rezone.
And in the rezoning agreement as well, yes.
I would also like to note that they did come to the ZBA for a variance, and we approved that on the side yard setbacks.
Correct. They would, normally, the industrial district requires 10-foot minimum for any single side, 40-foot combined side total. So that would have been 10 and 30. But the ZBA granted a variance so that they would have 10 and 10, which this site plan complies with.
And allows for wider drive lanes in there.
Which is really more important.
Which we felt was more important, especially given the use.
Okay, any other questions? Anything else, Mr. Young?
That's all I have.
Thank you. And then along with your letter, I just want to verify, I'm pretty sure the answer is yes, but the site plan information and the zoning compliance checklist, all of that's supplied to the applicant along with the letter?
Yes,
Okay, excellent.
yes.
Because that's the little cheat sheet, so.
That's correct. So, ultimately, whether it's tonight or another meeting, if you, did some sort of contingent approval on my letter, the checklists that are included would be part of that.
All right.
And I don't, there are some very, very minor things that might have been mentioned in the checklist that if I didn't mention in the letter, it's, it's just a minor thing.
Yeah,
just
part of the
that can be
record,
added,
so.
yeah.
Okay, excellent, thank you. Excuse me.
Chair Murray, I have a question for the engineer. Since now the Public Works Office is involved in our process, this is new, just this month, right? Would your concerns with discharging into the pond, would that be covered when they meet with Public Works?
Yeah, ultimately, the county would have final say, overall say of any stormwater, and they would likely look up this, or ask about the same issues or concerns that we had.
Just making sure that'll all get handled in engineering review and with Public Works Office.
Yep, and we would typically verify that our concerns are met, with the county, or I'm sorry, with the Public Works as well.
Okay.
So, before granting or moving forward.
Okay, as long as it's on the list and not forgotten.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Well, I just think now the Public Works Office won't let it be forgotten.
I'm no longer the liaison.
Yeah, you don't have to keep saying, did you talk to Public Works?
Yeah. I know the guy who wrote the letter, but.
That could be helpful. Excuse me. I also want to indicate that we received a letter from Selfridge indicating that they do not have any issue with this as well. So we've talked with the planner, we've heard from Macomb County Power, Public Works, Macomb County Road Commission, the fire marshal, and the engineer. And so you have all of that information at hand. And so now, do you want to address some of the questions? And do you want to come up into the microphone, please? Thank you.
As far as the engineering, I've met with Justin, the head of the water department, and he pulled up the original schematic of the pond that's there in place, and that pond was built and designed for that property, for the runoff of that property. So when we do the engineering and we show everything, it'll be dumping right into that pond, which is engineered to handle that. So the square footage, so we're good with that. And then he also verified with me that the sanitary sewer line is right along the side of, behind the gas station there, and he said that's easily tapped into to accommodate the bathrooms that will be in the units. Those are things. Mike?
I'd like to ask about the dumpster enclosure, because I think a dumpster will be needed for the type of use here.
Yeah, we've had some discussion about that, and one of my, Peter, the owner of the Design House, he really recommended not putting a dumpster in, because he said that's going to just be, people are going to be dumping stuff that, and I'm going to have to be cleaning all that stuff up, and the expense of it. He said it's way better just to have everybody take their own stuff home and get rid of it. So, but if we need to have some, 55-gallon, the big containers out there that people can use, because I don't want to be cleaning up people's mattresses and stuff like that, because people abuse stuff like that. So old couches, I don't want to have to deal with that and the expense of having that. But if it's something that the township wants, we'll put it in, I guess, so.
Yeah, I guess I reject that notion, because plenty of other commercial, industrial businesses have dumpsters and don't have couch issues, especially with the type of use that you're doing. It is a use that generates a lot of waste as the season turns. Boat screening, boat covering, all kinds of different boxes of machinery, boxes of tools. I hang out at a marina.
Hopefully the advantage of putting your boat in storage, you won't have to have the the shrink wrap on it, so
Yeah,
that won't be a.
but there's still going to be
But
trash.
yeah, I see, if you guys want it, we'll put it back in. But it was, like Adam said, it was in one of the original drawings or whatever, and as we talked about and went through the process, it was kind of like, said, let's not put that in, if it's not required,
Yeah.
so, but
I mean, my opinion would be that it should be there, and if it's tucked behind the building, not out on the front lawn of 16 Mile Road, then it won't be,
No, it would be back, if we put it in, it would probably be in that back corner somewhere.
yeah.
I would agree. I just could see then it causing issues for the convenience store, the oil shop, people trying to just throw stuff on their way out. I know, like, up north with people with cottages and stuff that don't have trash service, they just find a dumpster.
Take advantage of
Yeah.
whatever they can find.
So it may cause issues for the surrounding businesses.
Okay. Sanitary sewer connection, you addressed that. A copy of the association bylaws, or I don't know if that's what it would be called.
We're not sure.
Yeah, it would be the bylaws,
Rosemary, I don't know.
think.
We'll leave it up to the applicant to provide the mechanism and the documentation, and it doesn't need to be reviewed by the planning commission necessarily, but just I wanted to acknowledge it
On record.
and maybe have some indication on the site plan of what they intend to do.
Yeah, I mean, I live in the township and I go by the place, 5 times a day or whatever, so I'm gonna make sure that it's up to snuff and, and I'm hopefully with the, expense that people are having here, that it's gonna be some upward clientele and I can depend on them to, and if I have an issue with somebody, I'm gonna just say,
Well, you had talked about indicating no domicile,
correct.
and so that would have to be in addition to a sign, in addition to being noticed publicly. I would have, I would have.
Yeah, that'll be in the bylaws for sure.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
got it. Okay, and then the signage on 16 Mile?
Yeah, I'm currently in the process of trying to, I got a huge anchor that I'm trying to obtain, and not huge, but it'll have to fit
Good
within the guidelines
That would
of
look
the,
nice.
of the building department, so, but if I can get that, I think it's gonna be a pretty cool sign with a big, like, freighter anchor that I
Oh,
wanna
that's great.
put,
That'll
you know,
look
it'll be-
nice.
It should look really nice. I mean, I want this to be, top notch, and it will be.
Yeah,
That's
clean,
my intent.
neat.
Clean,
Yeah.
yes.
Maybe you could put Harrison Township Boat Town, USA.
I don't know if
could
I
be
can
the
get all
sign.
that wording in there, but if I can get it in there, I will.
Up one and down the other.
Yeah.
Just
Talk to the
kidding.
beautification committee on that.
Yeah.
SS Harrison Township or something,
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay, was there anything else that you wanted to?
Yeah, if I may chime in on a few things. Yeah, we will have a survey done, and the water line will be noted. Currently, there's a hydrant to the northeast corner, which likely we'll be tapping off of. But yeah, once we have the civil information, we'll make sure we get that on our plans. No bathrooms, but they will be stubbed out under the buildings. Optional for the tenants to install their own bathroom. So the utilities will be there, the stub will be there, and we will be stubbing from the existing sanitary sewer, which is on the east side of the property line. That 10 feet is our easement. So that leads to the next discussion of the trees, the buffer. We can't put them there. So we would propose to either.
Well, the trees are there, right?
There's existing trees on the gas station side, but in that area between the building and those existing trees is our 10-foot easement. We can't plant trees, we can't plant anything in that easement. So we would ask for the easement was just learned about, but that's where our sanitary sewer is. We would ask that we could, if possible, the planning commission could waive that requirement based on the fact that it is adjacent to a gas station. And there's already existing buffer there. If that would be an option. On the west side, it's so far away from the boat sales facility that, it's probably won't even really be noticeable. In addition, with the requirements for the commercial, the landscape requirements, we enhanced per the nautical theme, as you'll see along Metro Parkway, I'm sorry. And then plus around the buildings. The buildings have been enhanced also on the ends. So we would ask that that be considered with the possible waiver of the required trees on the east and west.
So what is it, one tree per 30, 3-inch caliber per 30 feet?
Yeah, so it normally asks for the 10-foot wide green belt, which they've provided. a tree, yeah, at least one for every 35 feet on center. So there's a couple options that you can consider, and the ordinance does specifically give you flexibility to modify or waive that requirement when the building setback does not provide adequate space to install that required green belt, or when the planning commission finds that an alternative method of screening is proposed. So one thing that you could consider is, and they may have already done this, but maybe take whatever the length of each side is, divided by 35, and provide that number of trees elsewhere. on the
Additional,
site,
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Where there are no
Yeah,
conflicts.
Exactly.
That's pretty much what we did, so that's where we were hoping.
I almost wonder if maybe you've already done that. So it would just be a matter of noting
And we'll clarify it.
on the plan where those, let's say it's 8 trees that were supposed to be in the side have been, are part of the excess that you might have provided.
There's, I think, 75 feet between the first building there and the gas station, so, and that's going to be a drive-through for the Tim Hortons that's going in eventually. But there's plenty of trees along that to buffer that from the gas station currently.
I missed that meeting.
Yeah,
Tim Hortons.
apparently that's coming?
Yep, signs out there.
Working on it.
The sign's been there for months. Every time Kyle goes
Oh,
to
I
get
haven't
gas
driven-
here.
I'm ready to get coffee.
I would be, I totally get on that side. You don't want to plant trees on top of the sewer
Yeah,
line, so
yeah.
I am in favor of waiving that. I love the enhanced vegetation on 16 Mile
Agreed,
Road.
agreed,
I think
especially because that's additional parking there.
I am a little torn on the other side because there is so much space in between the building and I get it's supposed to be screening, but I like trees, so.
Yeah, me too.
But it is a really narrow space, so I think I would be comfortable with waiving that for the enhanced 16 Mile Road frontage.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes, as far as the fire department comments, yeah, we will investigate, or we will discuss at the building department level. Again, this is for low-level storage, not really, contractor storage, but more like personal RVs, boats, even personal storage. And the comment, yeah, fire suppression and/or fire alarm, we can work with that, and we would be open more towards the fire alarm with third-party monitoring 24/7 as opposed to a fully suppressed building. But again, we can work on that in the future.
We could talk about that at a later date, that's fine, but this review is based off of the application that said boat storage.
Understood.
So if you're talking RVs, that changes the threshold of things, that we'll have to have a discussion at a later date. But this review is done off of what the application said for boat storage. So
If they remove,
Sign.
like declaring what is gonna be stored in there and it's just storage, what would be the requirements?
they can't do that.
Okay.
We have to know what's stored in there,
Okay.
because that changes the classification of the property,
That makes sense.
so.
Good, so you're very specific to,
Yeah.
Do you guys go with like what requires the
would need
most?
something.
Like if because it sounds like it could be a boat, it could be an RV, could be
So-
a car, could be a motorcycle.
The fire code, the International Fire Code, which is adopted, we have 2 codes adopted in Harrison Township, the International Fire Code and National Fire Protection Association Code 303, which governs marinas and boat storage. The fire code, International Fire Code, specifies commercial vehicles by weight, not by the use, licensing, specifically by weight. And boats and RVs for sure cross that threshold.
Okay.
So that threshold is smaller for suppression than it is for if you're storing metal boxes,
Okay.
say. If it is just gonna be boat storage, then that's where 303 comes into play. The threshold is small on that, and that's where we kinda need to know exactly what direction it's going in, so.
That makes sense. I just want to make sure.
so you're taking note of
the
that.
highest protection.
And so we know no approval, no final approval from you will come until,
At the building
Clarifying.
department level, yes.
Okay.
So, and that's discussed, like I said, we have no problem with the site, but I just wanted the applicant to understand that this is, based off this review, this is what has to be discussed.
Okay, thank you.
I had a couple questions for the applicant. One, I just want to clarify, these are all going to be treated as basically condos, privately owned individual units?
I haven't really made that determination yet, because I probably will own the project and lease the units. That's what, kind of the direction we're going, or what, that, you know, but eventually I would probably want, you know, be wanting to sell some of the units, or so, haven't got that threshold determined yet. So as far as, but yeah, it will be monitored and governed by me and/or a document that is prepared to control things.
Okay.
But, you know, like a condominium association document.
I also wanted to ask, on the application received on April 23rd, it does say when it asks for the sanitary sewer service on site will be provided by a connection to a line that either currently exists or will be constructed, it says NA. And that's where I didn't, in the site plans, didn't show any bathrooms, but there isn't, just to clarify, there is intent to have sanitary service.
Yes.
Say,
yes,
okay.
for sure.
I was
So
just
I
going
think
off
that's
the
gonna be-
application.
That's going to be one of the appeals of, an appeal of having your unit, if you're there, you know, waxing it or whatever, if you've got your boat in there and you want to work on it, you have a bathroom right there for yourself. But it won't be anything glamorous. It'll be a toilet and a sink or something like that. Nothing.
So no showers? No, are you not going full?
I
You're
have
going-
no intent of putting showers in there, because, again, that would, you know,
Yeah,
but-
lend towards abuse of domicile, yeah.
yeah.
I also had questions with site security. So normally, like a mini storage or whatever would have a gated access before you went in. These are all enclosed, but was there ever any interest in gating the entrance? I know you're worried about dumpster use and other stuff. but-
Yeah, I think we've gone through that a couple times, looking at the possibility of putting a gate in there, but I don't think at this point we're planning on that. But there will be security, there'll be on-site cameras, you know, making sure that, and it's pretty open, so I don't think there's gonna be anybody trying to get in there and banging down a door to get in, because somebody's gonna see them either from the gas station, 16 Mile, and with the police station right down the road. I mean, I think we're,
And the
Pretty
exterior
secure.
will be lit.
yeah, oh yeah, it'll be lit, except for when fish flies around. and
Well,
we
yeah.
Turn the lights out.
Yeah, that could be an
but,
issue.
The other question I had was with protecting the building itself. I mean, you're talking about moving around large items, boats, RVs, stuff like that. I know it kind of ruins the aesthetics, but have you looked at bollards at the door entrances or corners of building?
Yeah, I'm gonna probably consider something like that, because I don't want somebody backing into, you know, taking out half a garage door or something like that. So, yeah, that's something we'll consider doing, because
There are nicer looking bollards
Yes, there
now
are.
too, so they don't
Yeah,
have to be
it-
yellow concrete poles.
because I know I can't back a trailer in, so I give my wife the keys when I try to back my trailer. Self-admittal there, sorry.
Okay, anything else? Any other questions from the team? Anything else? Do you have any other information that you would like to share? Any questions from you at this time?
Yeah, I'm excited about this project, because I think it's something that Harrison Township needs, and I, want to build this thing to enhance the township, and I've already got 3 or 4 people interested in becoming a tenant or buying a unit, so I've got a list of people that I think it's a need for Harrison Township, so. And it's located, because it's got great access from both sides of 16 Mile, so with our subdivision, we have 830 homes, I think, in off Lake Shore, and there's more homes on the other side that people have stuff too that they want to store, so I think it's.
Okay. All right, well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything else from the engineer, the planner,
Chairman,
fire marshal? Yes, ma'am.
Could I ask the planner, So if we were to include a condition to have the site plan feature a trash receptacle with screening, how could that work? Could that just be subject to building department review, or?
Yes, if you'd like it to, I would just suggest that you indicate if it's a contingent approval with revisions needed to be made on the site plan, just indicate who you'd want to, confirm that your changes have been made. Typically, you would throw that off to administration, and that's either the members of the tech team.
The township.
So the engineer, the planner, we're gonna sign off on the site plan, and then it goes to engineering review from there.
Okay. Because everything that the applicant said, I reinforced my belief that a trash receptacle is necessary. It might not be shrink wrap, but it'll surely be waxing materials or bottles or bathroom materials or, other, the working equipment that people who own boats and other things like RVs like to use and discard. So that would be, if I were the one making the recommendation, I would recommend that it includes the trash enclosure screened as per section 11.15.
Is that a motion?
If there's no other discussion, I could make a motion.
Any other questions or comments? Anything for the applicant? Are we ready for, I just want to clarify before we go there. You are in receipt of the letter from the Macomb County Public Works, and we'll take care of making that meeting to discuss. Okay, all right. Okay. Well, we're kind of new to the Public Works this year, so.
Because they have been updated in the past few years, just so you know. Okay.
Chair Murray, I would just say, I think the Public Works, them being aware of these projects is just a double, because we always hear from the engineer
Yeah.
that they're gonna have to
Yeah.
do stormwater.
Yeah, it's the first
And
time I'm
so
seeing.
at the last meeting, they sent a letter saying they now want to be copied on all of our
Yeah, I
site
noticed that
plans
in
and
the
stuff.
minutes, yeah.
So, I just think it's like a double, they can't ignore the stormwater
All right,
standards.
good,
so
good, that's good.
it's like-
And if there's anything crazy, then they can weigh in ahead of time.
And it goes off our plate.
Yeah, or, well, I think
Essentially.
sometimes if the site plan process gets so far down the road, and then if there's a site that can't accommodate stormwater, then they've already done all this planning. And so this way, hopefully, that'll help that not happen.
Okay, all right, great, thank you. Okay, are we ready for a motion?
Chair Murray, I would make a motion
Okay.
to approve the site plan of Boaz Enterprise, case number 13-26-S, subject to the compliance with the rezoning conditions that were offered by the applicant and agreed upon by the township board, with a note on the plan to indicate that. I would also ask that a trash enclosure with screening shall be included on the site plan and reviewed by the tech team for compliance with section 11.15. Also that the minor screening is waived because of the additional vegetation that the applicant has provided along 16 Mile Road, and that the sanitary sewer connection be shown on the revised site plan. This shall also be reviewed by the tech team for compliance.
I'll support that with an amendment to meet all conditions discussed by the planner, engineer, and fire marshal.
Okay. So amended.
That covers
Amendment
everything.
support.
Okay. So we have a motion by Ms. Devlin, supported by Mr. Tominello to approve, subject to the compliance of all the zoning mentioned, and this will cover it, and all the planner's notes, the engineer requirements, the fire marshal requirements, the Macomb County Road, well, they're not even in it, the public works, the planner's notes, and so on. Require a trash enclosure with screening that'll be reviewed by the tech team. Waive the additional screening requirements due to the location. Sanitary, say that again?
And the additional.
Oh, additional trees?
Provided.
Okay. And then addressing the sanitary sewer connection, and that also be reviewed by the tech team. When we say reviewed, do we need to clarify review and approved, or just reviewed, and that covers approval?
What I would suggest is not say the tech team. It will essentially be the members of the tech team who will review, if you just say for township administration to review and confirm. We're confirming that your conditions have been met on the revised site. That's what.
Subject to confirmation by township administration. I'm amending.
Do you support? Okay. All right. Okay, we have our motion, we have our support, we have our amended motion and our amended support. Any discussion on that motion? Roll call, please, Ms. Oparka.
Member Devlin?
Yes.
Member Tominello?
Yes.
Member Duncan?
Yes.
Member Mulder?
Yes.
Member Oparka? Yes. Chair Murray?
Yes. Okay, congratulations. We look forward to a beautiful site. Thank you. Okay, our public hearings for this evening, since we have two, I'll just say this at the top. Be kind, be considerate, don't be loud, don't be obnoxious, make sure your cell phones are off. If something is already addressed for that particular case, it doesn't have to be addressed again because we'll be taking notes. I think that covers it. 3 minutes for each person. I think that covers it. Okay, Ms. Oparka, our first case, please.
Case 14-26-SLU, Huron Point Excavating, 42470 Executive Drive.
And Mr. Young, I'm going to start with you this evening, or for this
Okay.
case, and get my order in order.
This is an application from Huron Point Excavating for a property that is just under 2 acres in size in the township's industrial area. It's along Executive Drive. The applicant is seeking to occupy the existing site and building to establish their office for their marine contracting excavating business, along with outdoor storage yard in the back for the storage of materials and equipment associated with their operation. The property is zoned industrial, and the zoning ordinance allows contractors' offices with garages for indoor maintenance and indoor storage of equipment as a principal permitted use, but outdoor storage is allowed as a special land use. So the contractor's business portion is not technically the special land use. The special land use is, can this contractor's business in the rear yard store some of their materials and equipment? Because it's a special land use, public hearing is required. So that's the purpose of the public hearing this evening. And the Planning Commission has final authority for the approval or denial of a special land use. They have, along with the special land use, submitted a site plan that illustrates what they're looking to do on the property. Here's the site plan drawing itself. And you can see there is existing parking up front, or to the south of the existing building. They're going to add some gravel into that rear yard for an improved surface. They're also going to be doing some upgrading of that existing fencing and adding screening slats to it and actually installing new segments of fence so that it's a completely enclosed rear yard. So that's the background on the request. The Planning Commission, as you know, for the special land use portion of it, you'll be looking at the 8 standards that you have to consider for any special land use request. So if you have any questions about the process or the public hearing and what needs to be done this evening, I'd be glad to answer those.
Thank you. I think we'll hit up all the team heads and then ask the
Okay.
applicant to come up and address, and then once all the information is out there, then we'll open the public hearing.
Okay. Then let me continue on, and I'll just highlight some of a few site plan things that I had noticed.
Sounds good.
Because this is an existing site, there are some elements, information that would be required on a site plan normally that aren't pertinent to this site because it's already developed as an existing building. So that includes topography, knowledge of existing improvements within 200 feet of the site, because this is a completely built-out industrial area, benchmarks for the property, maximum occupancy for the building because it's not required to determine parking. And so some of those things I just wanted to mention can be waived. I think generally what they've provided on the site plan is sufficient information for you to make an appropriate decision. The whole minor screening issue even comes into play for when industrial is adjacent to industrial uses. You'll see that given where the building is right now, given where the fencing is right now, they really don't have room for screening, but they are preserving some of the existing vegetation in the rear and then in the corners of the property. They're also enhancing the site by providing additional vegetation in the front along the frontage of the road as well. So that would be something, the Planning Commission should just evaluate and consider whether anything additional is needed. As always, we'd like to have a landscape maintenance statement, just a commitment added to the site plan that the owner is aware that if landscaping is diseased or dying, that they will replace them if notified by the township. And then finally, a development impact statement. So any special land use request, the Planning Commission may require a development impact statement to be submitted. It's a lot of detail. What are the impacts upon the surrounding properties, natural features, and notably traffic. But you can waive the requirement for a development impact statement if you determine that the subject information is not necessary to conduct a review of the application, and further where it is determined that the development will not generate significant amount of traffic above and beyond current traffic conditions abutting the site. I personally don't believe that you would need to require a development impact statement, given that this is fully entrenched within the industrial district.
And an existing.
Yeah. Those are my comments.
Okay. Well, thank you. Excuse me. Engineering?
Yes, thank you, Chair. At this time, as Planner Young mentioned, because this is an existing site and an existing building, there's not a ton for us to review as far as utilities are concerned. Water service, sanitary service, presumably remaining the same. The biggest concern that we had while looking at the site plan is the conversion from the grass yard to the gravel yard. Obviously, when you add a gravel surface to what was a grass surface, you're going to increase the runoff on the site. It's similar to adding pavement versus adding grass. On the site itself, they don't consider that or show how they're going to manage that excess runoff. Ultimately, I think it would be a county public works, it is a storm water management question. But is there something they could do as they move forward through the process? I do believe so. The plans don't indicate as such, but that would be my only concern moving forward, would be how they're managing the excess runoff from the gravel yard instead of the grass yard.
Is it larger than an acre, do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head.
So the letter from Public Works states that it's less than an acre, so no stormwater review will occur in Public Works.
But it's interesting because when we look at the site, it says I think it's 1.9 acres?
That would be, probably Public Works was going off the gravel area. They might have run a preliminary calculation on that.
Usually they do the whole thing, not just.
Well, and I didn't know if it was the building or the actual,
It should be the
Entire
whole
property.
site.
It should be the-
I
the
agree with you,
lot.
Danielle. It should
Okay.
be the whole
The
site.
parcel.
It is definitely larger than 1 acre.
yeah. I think it comes in at 1.9.
It says the site disturbance, but from what I understand, they usually go by the size of the parcel. So not sure why that's different in this case.
So stormwater management is a hit. That's an item that we want to have addressed.
Mr. Young, can you comment on, we have an ordinance, I believe it's either a parking or storage ordinance that talks about gravel is not allowed and how this applies to that?
And the lot coverage, would this apply to lot coverage if you're converting from grass to gravel to impermeable surface?
I guess the question is that impervious surface or pervious surface? You know, it is gravel. It probably depends on the type of gravel that they're looking to put down, maybe the thickness or the depth of it. I don't know if it would technically qualify. If this was a, off-street parking area, loading area, the hard surface requirement would certainly kick in, but for a yard that's not intended for customer or, employee use, it is solely storage. There is not a requirement for concrete or asphalt surfacing.
I think we required that in the residential district.
And then one last question, how would any substances, petroleum or anything like that be captured if there's, a spill or something? It seems like this would allow it to run off onto the adjacent properties or the street. And if it's a storage area, it seems like there would be the potential for petroleum or other substances to leak or be spilled.
I can speak to that. Any leaks of any kind of chemicals, there's federal and state procedures that have to go in place. So they have to be cleaned up a certain way. So if something were to leak at any property, it would be mitigated by a professional organization. It's licensed, bonded, all that jazz, and they have to follow federal and local guidelines, so.
Okay. Any other comments from the engineering team? Okay,
None at this time.
thank you. And you did address, we did talk about the Public Works. How do we feel about leaving it where it is, or do we want to contact to indicate maybe an additional review is required or requested?
I mean, I don't know that we have that
Authority.
authority to do that, but I mean, if we think on the site plan that it shouldn't be entirely covered with gravel and there should be vegetation, I think that it's our purview as reviewing the site plan. Right, Rose, you're giving me a stink eye. Am I
Oh, no,
saying that
sorry,
wrong?
I'm just thinking,
Just want to make sure.
no stink eye intended.
I'm looking at the plan that they provided too, and it's not the whole area in the back that will be stone. There is a grass, still some grass intended to be on site, so I do think they could use that to provide some stormwater management, even like a bioswale.
So there's also a little discrepancy between the satellite view that shows a setback from the
Yeah,
storage area to the
Yeah.
property line to
Yeah.
the last page that shows the gravel area extending right to the property lines. I get they do have the grass area in the back, but if the gravel is going to go right to the property line, preventing any runoff running towards the neighboring properties, whether it be a berm, a curb, or something to create containment within the site.
we definitely want to account for what is shown on that site plan sheet, the engineered stamp drawing there. There, and I would agree that kind of aerial concept, even in the back to the, it's shown as being a smaller area than it actually is shown on the site plan. Although there still will be a sizable, I don't know what that distance actually is, but they intend to keep green space in the rear.
It's awfully tiny print. It just says existing trees and vegetation. There's not I don't see a dimension on that. Okay. Nothing additional from the fire marshal?
No, we have no other concerns.
Okay. Macomb County Department of Roads didn't have any indication of a problem. Public Works we talked about. So the 7 standards. It is our job to review the 7 standards and verify whether or not this particular special land use falls within those. So we can do this 2 ways. We can address each one, or we can indicate that this application is in compliance with all 8, or we can address the items that we think this application is not in compliance with a particular item.
Madam Chair?
Yes, sir.
I would suggest maybe that you open the public hearing and allow any public comments, if there are any, to inform your review of those standards.
Okay. All right. Great idea.
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
Thank you, Ms. Devlin.
Support.
Mr. Mulder. Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Public hearing is now open. If you have something to address, speak to the Huron Point excavating item, please come up to the microphone and give your name and your location, and 3 minutes. Wow. Okay. This is your opportunity, because we will close the public hearing. Okay, motion to close the public hearing.
Is the applicant here?
We can close the public hearing then.
We could,
Can come
yeah.
up because we can still have
Yeah,
discussion. so-
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Okay,
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
okay.
Support.
Motion by Ms. Oparka, supported by Mr. Mulder to close the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Okay, would you like to come up and, thank you.
Hi guys, my name is Crystal Roush. I'm representing Huron Point Excavating, just a managing member. We have been seeking location for quite some time. We have found this location over on Executive, so I think it more suits our needs for the storage that we have. We do intend on having a lot of stuff stored inside. The larger items that can't fit inside the building will be stored outside. Yeah, we do plan on fencing in the backyard, only graveling a portion of it, putting trees and stuff in the front. Making small improvements like that's literally gonna be for outdoor, indoor storage, and then office, and that's just me usually, so.
Okay,
That's it.
yeah, please.
So is the gravel portion intended for storage of items? That's where the storage will occur, on top of the gravel?
Correct, yes.
Okay. And this is in addition to your other riverfront site?
The riverfront site is just for barge access to be able to get the materials on and off the barge, and then this is gonna be for storage of materials, yes.
Okay, so when, at that day when you talked about you'd be bringing stuff just for the purpose of loading them onto the barge?
Yes.
This is where they're going to be coming from?
Yes.
Okay. I don't have any other questions.
Will this store the stuff that was like stored on the site on Jefferson?
Yes.
Okay.
Does that include fuel tanks?
No.
Okay. So no hazardous material?
Other than just the, like, torches and stuff, but we keep only X amount of them on site, and they're on a cement pad, and we've worked with the fire marshal in the past to keep them chained and with bollards around them, so.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
So recently, we did an occupancy and use inspection at this property, and they are compliant with the federal and state firefighter right to know.
Okay, excellent. Good news. Thank you. Okay, any other questions for the applicant? Any questions from you?
No.
Okay, any other discussion? Or, yes,
I'm going to suggest that you would ask the question on how to proceed. I think it would be best, whatever motion you make, to actually go through each standard.
you want to go through, okay, so each standard? Okay, all right.
So before we go through the standard, I did have a comment. Looking in the industrial area, Executive Drive, Production Drive, Irwin Drive, and you're looking at all the other businesses in that area, if you look at a satellite view, this would not be the only place that has outdoor storage. It backs up to an auto parts kind of junkyard with cars outside. The other businesses, you can find outdoor storage at almost all of them. So this would not be, unusual in that area.
Thank you.
Can I ask the planner, what would trigger outdoor storage surface in industrial to be upgraded from gravel to a hard surface? Not that I'm suggesting it's appropriate in this
Yeah.
case, I just wondered, what would be the trigger?
There's not a specific trigger. If you look at the standards for outdoor storage as a special land use in the industrial district, it doesn't discuss the surface material requirement. The reason why the special land use is being triggered in the first place is I recognize as well that, a lot of the industrial businesses in that corridor do have some of their, materials in the back and things of that nature. Some of that just occurs over time and we're not aware of that. It's the fact that general contractors' offices are specifically listed and it says indoor storage only as a principal permitted use. And so just wanting to make sure that the planning commission is comfortable with outdoor storage. That doesn't answer your question about the surface, but that's why I bring it up, and as a standard or at specific standards for outdoor storage, it does not say that a certain material type is required.
I also have a question. When you're storing stuff out there, I know you deal with larger metal objects. Are you using any tracked vehicles that would be moving equipment back there that would destroy a hard surface concrete or
That's
asphalt?
what I was gonna answer. So they're doing the gravel because of the equipment they use is tracked, and then the weight of the equipment and the stuff being stored, it just shatters the concrete.
Any other questions? Now let's address the 8 standards. The proposed use shall be of such location, size, and character that it'll be in harmony with the appropriate and orderly development of the surrounding neighborhood and applicable regulations of the zoning district in which it is to be located. Mr. Mulder, I think you just addressed that. Thank you very much. Does anyone have any problem with that? Item number 2, the proposed use shall be of a nature that will make vehicular and pedestrian traffic no more hazardous than is normal for the district involved, taking into consideration vehicular turning movements in relation to routes of traffic flow, proximity and relationship to intersections, adequacy of site distances, location, and access of off-street parking and provisions for pedestrian traffic, with particular attention to minimizing pedestrian vehicle conflicts. Any issues? Standard
Say
3,
why.
I'm sorry?
Make a factual statement
Yeah,
as to why you do not have a problem with that. Like, preferably maybe
Okay,
suggested by the planner. The type of
Okay.
use. Yeah, in Adam's letter, he says the allowance for an outdoor storage yard is a component of the contractor's office and would not seem to create additional traffic demand beyond what is normally expected in the industrial area.
so we will adopt that.
Yes.
Thank you. Item 3, the proposed use shall be designated as to the location, size, intensity, site layout, and periods of operation of any such proposed use to eliminate any possible nuisance emanating therefrom which might be noxious to the occupants of any other nearby uses permitted, whether by reason of dust, noise, fumes, vibration, smoke, or lights.
This is
ahead.
generally compatible with the context of an industrial area. And they are proposing additional screening slats, which could mitigate any visual impacts to neighboring properties.
So we are in compliance. Standard 4, the proposed use shall be such that the proposed location and height of buildings or structures and location, nature, and height of walls, fences, and landscaping will not interfere with or discourage the appropriate development and use of adjacent land and buildings of unreasonably affect their value. It's an existing property, and
And the use will be very consistent with the surrounding properties.
Would not interfere with the appropriate development and use of adjacent land and buildings or unreasonably affect their value. So I find it consistent with standard number 4.
correct, I agree. Standard 5, the proposed use shall relate harmoniously with the physical and economic aspects of adjacent land uses in regard to prevailing shopping habits, convenience of access by prospective patrons, continuity of development, and need for particular services and facilities in specific areas of the township.
As the planner noted, this is a waterfront community. We've demonstrated a need for this. We've seen them in front of us multiple times. This seems to be the most appropriate place for this storage yard to be, as opposed to in residential areas that we've seen previously.
Agreed.
I think
Anyone?
they would be happy to get a permanent home too and stop coming back to cities.
Be nice to land somewhere, right?
Yes.
Okay. Standard number 6, the proposed use will service a public convenience to the proposed location. I think we're all in agreement
Yeah,
that,
Yes.
as we just stated previously, this is a need for our township being a waterfront community.
and item number 7, the proposed use is so designated, located, planned, and operated so that the public health, safety, and welfare will be protected. It's in the right location, it's in the location that the township has planned
An
for this
industrial-
type of a,
An industrial
Yep.
area. yeah.
new fencing with screening slats is proposed to mitigate visual impacts from adjacent properties. Standard number 8, the proposed use shall not cause substantial injury to the value of other property in the vicinity in which it is to be located and will not be detrimental or to existing and/or permitted land uses within the zoning district.
As we've stated previously, with our findings for standards 1, 3, and 7, it fits in the district. It's already an existing use there, so, or an existing site.
Agreed. Does anyone have anything additional to, contrary to what we are finding in the 8 standards? Okay, anything additional to discuss? Questions? Okay, take a seat.
I did want to just go back to the stormwater management
Okay.
comment. Is it something that they can work out with engineering?
I would believe so.
Okay.
Typically, in a situation like this, we just want to see what is the existing stormwater, what is the existing drainage patterns? And if they are adding gravel, that they're not making a worse hardship on the adjacent properties, and that they're addressing the runoff, because it will be more, right? It'll just be
Yes.
less infiltration. And as long as they're managing it and not, making it worse for adjacent properties, then we shouldn't have any issue with it.
And they'll have to show you that in their building permit
Yep.
or.
Yep, that's what we typically say, what does the site do now, and what is it gonna do after you're done? And we'll go through that during engineering and make sure that they're compliant. Whether or not, Public Works has a requirement, we will make sure from a township standpoint that they are, doing their due diligence to manage that water.
Nice.
Okay.
I feel comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Okay, our site plan review this evening, when something like this comes up, we generally go down a path to address items that are outstanding to our zoning. So as the planner had indicated, we have the ability to waive certain requirements. And those are listed at the bottom of page 2 of his letter. I'm sorry, page 3 of his letter. Existing improvements within 200 feet of the site, topography, benchmarks, maximum occupancy, identification of fire lanes, and site irrigation. Since this is an existing location, yeah. So how do we feel about that?
Well, personally, I agree with the planner's assessment that these items are unnecessary to the review and our understanding of the site and this use.
Okay. Any other questions from anyone? Minor screening? How about landscape maintenance? Landscaping maintenance.
It looks like that's just to add a note to the plans.
correct.
So,
Okay.
as long as the applicant is okay with adding that note.
So, go
Could
ahead.
I ask if, so there really is no additional landscaping being added, it's all existing landscaping?
They actually are adding
In the
the
front.
shrubs, immediate, kind of like the building foundation shrubs.
Oh,
and
right
then-
along the front of the
Yeah.
building?
Yep, and then 2 additional trees just to the south of the building.
Okay.
So
I
some
can
new,
see
new
in the
vegetation.
Aerial, there's existing, mature vegetation.
Yes.
There's, yeah, big mature trees in the front, so we were gonna do some nicer landscaping in the front. Something that's not that dark super easy.
Okay, that'd be good. Because it is visible from, 94 Road.
And how about the development impact statement?
I think I'm fine waiving that. It's already in a built site. It's in the industrial zone. I think we maybe finally found a home.
I know,
for them.
I think so.
I
Round
agree with
peg,
that as
round
well.
hole.
The only impact that we're concerned about will be dealt with engineering, so.
Okay. Commissioners, anything additional? Planner?
Nothing else
Anything
for me.
additional? Engineer?
Nothing further.
Nothing further from fire? Okay. All right. Discussion or motion, please?
I think you should have 2 motions, one that's approving the special land use. and
You know, it's funny you say that. I have that right here.
You do go through the.
If anyone
you can
wants,
adopt what you would
we have a how-to, so that we are very clear and specific. Anyone? Anyone?
Sure. Come to me. Let's go.
Do we have to reevaluate the hay standards?
No,
or
I
just we
think,
can
I think you
our
can
review?
reference what you had already stated.
Very good.
And then move on to your site plan. So
Yeah,
two
that's
different
what I
votes, one
was
for
gonna
special
do.
land use and one for site plan. You don't have to file that one.
Okay, okay. Because I had a motion in my head ready to go,
Okay,
and now
good.
I'm confusing myself. So I would make a motion to approve the special land use request for case 14-26 SLU Huron Point Excavating 42470 Executive Drive for a contractor yard and office, being that it has met the 8 standards for a special land use, and that we've discussed and gone through each one and find that the proposed use is in compliance with them.
And did we want to talk specifically about what we're?
You gotta do another.
Yep, we'll do a separate motion.
Oh, I'm sorry,
We'll
thank
do
you.
this motion.
Okay, all right. So this motion first, okay.
No, I was just gonna support the motion.
Okay.
Okay. Motion by Ms. Oparka, supported by Mr. Mulder, to approve, indicating that The applicant has met the 8 standards as proposed. Yeah, okay. Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, part 2.
I will make a motion to approve the site plan for case 14-26-SLU Huron Point Excavating, being that they will address the planner and engineer letters, any concerns in those, that we are waiving the site plan information noted by the planner in his letter in item number 1. We are waiving the minor screening requirement, given that they are planting some additional trees in the front of the property. The applicant has agreed to put a note on the site plan to confirm they will maintain the landscaping, and that the planning commission is waiving the need for a development impact statement at the site, and that they will also work with engineering to consider stormwater management on the site.
Thank you.
Support?
Ms. Oparka, supported by Ms. Devlin. As indicated. Motion as indicated. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Roush, congratulations.
Thank you.
And hopefully we never see you again. I'm just kidding.
Okay, well, let's move on to our second public hearing this evening. Ms. Oparka.
Case number 15-26 SLU Jefferson Land Holdings LLC, Maria Zingas, 37240 Jefferson.
So this is a special land use to build a 2-unit residential condominium. And I'm going to jump right to our planner.
Okay, this property shown on screen here is located along Jefferson Avenue. It has water frontage on Lake St. Clair. The property is 0.44 acres in size. It has 70 feet of frontage on Jefferson Avenue. The property is presently zoned R1D, Single-Family Residential District, and the applicant is proposing a 2-unit attached condominium. So a 2-family dwelling, essentially. The two-family dwellings are permitted as a special land use in the R1D district. Since it's a special land use, that is the reason for the public hearing this evening. So you will ultimately need to go through your 8 standards on this request, and the Planning Commission has final authority for the approval of the special land use. Because this is proposed to be a condominium, so that requires preliminary condominium documentation to be provided. So tonight, you've got the special land use, which you can, once the public hearing is opened and closed, you can make a decision on the special land use. And you could also make a decision, but just on a preliminary site plan, essentially that you're okay with the site plan in a preliminary form. Because it's a condo, they have to come back to you a second time. That's just how the ordinance establishes the process. It's a 2-step process for a condominium. And at that time, maybe the township attorney will have reviewed the master deeds and bylaws, although the applicant has already submitted copies of drafts, master deeds, and bylaws for this development. Just kind of showing on screen, this is the site plan for the site. You can see that on this property, they would have one shared common driveway to Jefferson Avenue, and then the driveway would kind of split. So each unit would have a grade level attached garage, separate, and then each unit would have a separate entrance, grade level entrance as well. There would be some common space, so yeah, that would be shared by the condominium, the two unit owners essentially. And then each unit would have their own private space, lawn in the back. So that's the structure. At least the applicant has provided not the specific architectural design for, that still is pending, but she has provided some concepts of those drawings. I'll pull those up. I apologize, I don't have that queued up at the moment, but I'll pull up some concepts showing the type of architectural styles that she's looking for. So as far as, I did provide comments on the 8 standards. The applicant also provided her comments on the 8 standards, which is always very helpful. The comments that I had on the site plan is we normally would require for new development a sidewalk to be constructed. We've kind of gone through this before where the planning commission would need to decide ultimately whether the sidewalk could be waived or not, given the presence of existing sidewalks in the area. And that's really my only site plan comment. I just mentioned that they'll have to come back for final site plan review with a little bit more detail on the condominium structure.
Okay,
If you have any questions for me, I'd be glad to try and answer them at this time.
thank you. The engineering team, please. Mr. Fishback, listen to me, that's because it's staring at me right now. So we have indicated that we've received several versions, updated versions of the site plan, and hoping that you've had an opportunity to review the final one that we've been provided, which I think is past your May 14th letter.
Yes, we did have an opportunity to look at the changes, and from what we could tell on the plans, it's mainly the configuration, the geometrics of the driveway off of Jefferson. So in general, we don't have any concerns from an engineering standpoint. The applicant is showing their water service, their sanitary service, stormwater management as far as catch basins and connections to existing systems. So at this time, we don't have any comments as far as or concerns from an engineering standpoint, other than just meeting the requirements from Macomb County Department of Roads for their driveway connection, and then obviously getting their building permits needed through the township building department.
Okay, thank you. Our fire chief, please.
So this is a unique project from a fire code perspective. It's a residential property that has 2 separate driveways that merges into one. So technically speaking, the first part is considered a fire department access. So initially, it was less than the required. Resubmission did meet the requirements, and they're putting no parking signs on that. Other than that, we have no other concerns, so.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, so why don't we have the applicant come up and explain, and then we'll open the public hearing. Is the applicant present? Hi.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity. Representing the 372.
Let us know who you are. I mean, we know who you are,
I was
but
following
please,
up.
for the record.
Representing 37240 Jefferson Holdings
Thank
LLC,
you.
Maria Zingas, a member of the LLC. In front of you, requesting the special land use for these 2-unit condominium. It was an idea that was tossed around, not necessarily want to be behind this podium. I'm usually the front of it, but the idea become reality in that we thought it was feasible and prudent, consistent with seeing a development going on at this particular site. I have provided answers to the 8 standards, and I also have brief answers to an objection letter that was received that I would like to pass around if you're interested. Other than that, the planner provided a wonderful review, and he voiced his opinion. And any questions, I will be more than happy to answer it.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the applicant from the commissioners? Okay. All right, you want to go ahead and take a seat, and we'll open the public hearing and pay close attention, and then we'll get you afterward. Thank you. May I have a motion to open the public hearing, please?
So moved.
Support?
Okay, Ms. Devlin, Mr. Duncan, to open the public hearing. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is now open. Motion carries. Again, I'll remind you, please be kind, civil. 3 minutes. If an item is talked about, we're taking notes, so it doesn't need to be repeated. Okay. Who would like to come up? Mr. Burdell.
C. William Bardell, 29-year resident, 37865 Point Rosa. I find it interesting that anyone would want to build a 2-unit condo in an R1D. I think it deteriorates the neighborhood. It surprises me how people want to come into Harrison Township and pillage our neighborhood by doing this. You could build one of these McMansions just like these other ones on the street, right on the water, prime site. Build a nice big house and build it and sell it and make a lot of money and go about your business. Now, why in God's green earth would you want to put on 2 condos in this? It boggles my mind why anyone would do this to a neighbor or these nice people in this neighborhood, all single-family residential neighborhoods. That's why we have zoning. R1D is single-family. And plus, that's a prime location, right on the lake. And I don't know why we would want to pillage our neighborhood and put a 2-unit condo there. And as far as the typical plan view or whatever suggested design, it's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. And I would never put a 2-unit condominium in an R1D. Never on God's green earth. That will destroy the whole neighborhood. It's all R1D for a reason. We have zoning. I don't know why everyone wants to come to Harrison Township and pillage our wonderful township. It boggles my mind. Put a big mansion up there like the guy did next door to the south of it. Put a big mansion on there, live there or sell it or whatever. Go about your business. I don't know. I'm totally against this. It makes no sense. And this is my neighborhood. Okay? So I'm not happy about it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Bardell.
Good evening. My name's Adina Rappold, and I live directly next door to the proposed development at 37240 Jefferson. I strongly urge the board to deny the special land use request for a 2-unit condo on this property. It's zoned R1D, which is intended for single-family homes, detached homes, and approving a duplex on this lakefront lot changes the intent and the character of the zoning district and sets a dangerous precedent for future multifamily development along this part of Lake St. Clair. Our concern is not just this one project. There are several vacant waterfront lots nearby. And once the township approves a special land use like this in a single-family neighborhood, it becomes increasingly difficult to deny the similar request in the future. So it's not just about one duplex, it's about the long-term future and character of the neighborhood. The applicant in her 8 points had suggested that because there's already a nearby triplex, another multifamily development would be appropriate here. However, Many residents feel the township should be working to preserve and strengthen the single-family residential character of this area rather than continuing to increase density. One higher density property should not become justification for additional multifamily development throughout the neighborhood. Another important point I'd like to point out is that this property sits on a very sharp and tight curve of Jefferson, where we have witnessed several accidents. And adding 2 residences on a lot will increase the traffic, vehicle turns, guest parking, Amazon deliveries, and daily activity in an area that already has safety concerns. As someone who lives directly next door, I am deeply concerned that increasing density at this location will make an already dangerous stretch of road even worse. As the adjacent homeowner, I also have concerns about the increased intensity of use directly next to my property, including additional traffic, parking congestion, noise, and reduced privacy on a relatively small waterfront parcel. The applicant describes this as affordable waterfront housing, but realistically, new waterfront condominiums are unlikely to provide truly affordable housing opportunities. Instead, this appears to be an effort to maximize density on available waterfront land in a neighborhood intended for single-family homes. So most importantly, many residents chose this area because of its single-family residential character. The board's decision will send a message about whether the township intends to preserve its single-family waterfront neighborhoods or gradually allow higher density development through repeated special land use approvals. I respectfully ask the board to protect the character and safety of this area, uphold the intent of the R1D zoning district.
3 minutes.
Deny this request.
Thank you very
for your time and consideration.
Hello.
Good evening. I also have a letter here from one of my
Let us know
neighbors.
who you are, please.
Oh, yes. Hello, I'm Juliana Grew. I live at 37200 Jefferson Avenue, which is 4 driveways away from this lot. I have a letter here from one of my neighbors, too, I'd like to submit to you guys. She wasn't able to make it, she's 87. Okay, so I am here to ask the commission to deny case number 15-26_SLU. The applicant is asking you to look not necessarily at the reality of the situation. Under section 17.01, the applicant must prove this 2-unit fits our neighborhood. They have not really done so, in my opinion. I want to hit 3 critical points. First is traffic safety. The applicant's text states that the duplex won't make traffic riskier, and I think that's false. This driveway will exit directly onto a sharp right turn, or a turn on Jefferson. The sight lines are already poor in that area, and by approving the family 2 attached condo, you are doubling the daily vehicle movements at that single turn. And we have accidents there a lot in the last year. We've had someone die in the last 5 years. It's a dangerous corner already. We had a guardrail there that was taken out. I'm not sure why we did that. The second is the neighborhood character myth. The applicant uses this triplex next door to it to justify that this is, allowed or a good transition. But this triplex is a non-conforming anomaly of the neighborhood. It is also a source of constant neighborhood disruption, requiring multiple calls from the police to resolve the issues. And doubling down on the density right next to already a problematic property doesn't enhance our neighborhood. It compounds an existing nuisance that we have in the neighborhood, and it threatens our peace and our property values, violating standards 1 and 7. Third, the precedent. The applicant's core argument is financial. They claim, that it is more affordable to build the duplex, and the financial hardship shouldn't be really considered on changing the grounds for a special land use approval. And there are 4 other vacant units in the neighborhood, and I know this was touched on, and I apologize for that. But if we rezone this, then what happens to the next vacant area? Do we get a 25 unit because we set a precedent by passing this zoning? So please help us conserve our single-family residential neighborhood in Harrison Township and
3 minutes.
make this request. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Can I give you this letter?
Yes. Do we have it already? Did this come from email?
No, that was from, it's just
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, what? Yeah, I'll have you add it to the record. Okay, anyone else like to come up? Okay,
My name is Jim Wolf. And I live directly across from the vacant land. In fact, it's rather ironic because her address, 37240, was my address when I lived across the street when Gino Calisi owned that property. I don't know whether any of you are old enough to remember Gino Calisi from Gino's Surf and that little cream-colored house that was right there on that corner. In fact, I lived on all that piece of property there, over 3 acres, for 12 years. The guy across the street, I became friends with him. I always liked that little brown house that he had. And I asked him one time, Larry, if you ever decide to sell your house, let me know. One day, he walked up and said, Jim, I'm ready to sell. Are you interested? Yes, I was. So I've lived there since 1988. That corner is a rather dangerous corner as far as traffic is. Everybody knows the traffic in the summertime in Harrison Township doubles, triples, quadruples. Getting in and out of your driveway at times, unless you've got the patience, which we have finally learned to have the patience, it's fine. I don't know whether you know that directly next to our house, the Brown House, they have built a rather large home, and I know that's for sale right now. He's asking an outrageous amount of money for it, I thought. So I am definitely against rezoning that just for the traffic that it's going to create. Like the neighbors said, Amazon in, out, traffic or garbage pickup, so on and so forth, noise. And I could just about tell you the traffic pattern from about 4:30 in the morning. It's really, really tough. It's gotten no better. Major accidents, number of them over the years. So that's pretty much about it. I am, like I said, 100% against rezoning it.
thank you.
You know.
Anyone else?
How you doing? Brandon Grew, 37200 Jefferson Avenue. I'm just a couple of driveways down from it. My family's been in the area for 40 years. I've been there in my house since 2006. And from the day that I started living in that house, the house that she's using as an example for let's do this again is a constant problem for the neighborhood. I've got footage of multiple police calls to that unit. Increasing the amount of people jammed into that area is not going to increase our property value. It's not going to make the corner any safer. And the biggest thing to me is it's going to, in my opinion, would decrease the property value because it opens the door for the other vacant properties going the same route. So I would have to say that I am completely against the rezoning. And if you stand anywhere on that corner and spin in a circle, you will only see single-family houses with the exception of the triplex that's next door. And when you do your spin, you might see a cop in that driveway because they're there all the time. And it's only going to increase if we add 2 more units, 2 more rentals, 2 more houses to be vacant, 2 more Airbnbs to be rented out, and our corner doesn't need it. Thanks.
Thank you. Can you come up to the, And I'm letting you do this because you had a minute and a half left on your 3 minutes.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize I was quite that quick. That triplex that's there, the only reason that is allowed is because it's grandfathered in. Is that correct?
We would have to look. We would have to double.
Because that was the understanding that I
With
had,
that, yeah.
that it was only allowed because it was grandfathered in. I know the guy that bought it, Mike, and he told me that was the only reason that he bought it, because he knew that he could lease or the rent out. And they are correct about the problems there.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anyone else? Anything new to the discussion? Okay. May I have a motion to close the public hearing, please?
We'll move.
Mr. Tominello, supported by Ms. Devlin. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Public hearing is now closed. Ms. Singus, did you want to come up and address any of the items that were discussed? Okay. And I know your voice is very quiet, so I'm going to ask you to pull the microphone close and project, please. Thank you.
I wouldn't want to get into a debate for the sake of time, but I would like to pass around the written objection that was received. Is basically summarizing everything that was voiced out tonight, if I may.
Thank you. Oh, I think I have this. Okay.
Maybe me?
So I can answer any questions that I have, or I could go through them one by one.
Well, I think we're going to go through the 7 standards, and we will use this information. Is that what these are, the 8 standards? Is that?
Yes, that's the 8 standards.
Okay, these are the 8 standards per your answers to an additional resident's objection. Okay, got it.
I do like to mention that we have comments from the Fire Department of Roads. They did not indicate any concern regarding increased density. On the Air National Guard, no comments. Township planner, you have his review, and township engineer, you have his review. Apologies for the various submittals. I suppose I should have waited instead of pressuring the engineer to make the changes.
Yeah, for future, I wish you had as well. It's
Well, he was
difficult to take the
practicing.
time and do all the homework.
He's a new engineer, so he practiced. What else? I do have a PowerPoint if you're interested to go through that. Preliminary cost to construct estimate and preliminary house plans. I would like to end it by saying, this is by no means a project that was designed to deteriorate or increase density. Could also be, looking at the neighborhood, it has a house, I think, up to 48,000 square feet. It could also be that with 5 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms, and it could also be an Airbnb. And this is not by any means to be a rental. It will be a home ownership development. The triplex is a tenant-related situation with incidences, so that's unfortunate. That's all I have, I think. Liz, you have questions?
Commissioners, any questions for the applicant while she's at the podium? Okay, go ahead and take a seat.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we are in receipt of the engineering information, the fire marshal's information, and there are a couple of items. Oh, this was the first. And I think we need to, and no offense, Ms. Zingas, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but this is an issue that I think we do need to address, where we do receive multiple copies before our meeting, and where the planner and the engineer and the fire marshal and us, all of the commissioners, have had an opportunity to review, and then to be presented with changes where we have to go through the procedure again, and then to be presented with additional changes where we have to go through the process again. And I'm not saying I don't mind homework, I don't mind homework, but yeah, that was a little frustrating. So what we're presented with here may not be the most updated. I have to refer to an email and then back to our list again, so that's, all right, I'll step down off my soapbox. Okay, commissioners, do we want to address this SLU first, meaning the 8 standards? All right. Grab my little book. Okay, standard 1, the proposed use shall be of such location, size, and character that it will be in harmony with the appropriate and orderly development of the surrounding neighborhood and applicable regulations of the zoning district in which it is to be located. Compliance or discussion?
I think it fails on that one. As numerous people have pointed out, listed as, R1D. It doesn't seem logical to make the change at this stage for the surrounding area, so I think just on that one alone, it fails, in my opinion.
And could I add to that? So I reject the notion that a 2-family condominium is a pillage of the neighborhood, but in this case, the characteristics of the site and the lot are such that I think it would be difficult to fit in the 2-family and have the site, be consistent and flow. So I think it is a characteristic of the shape of the lot that is the reason why it fails, in my opinion.
Thank you. Anyone else? Comments on item number 1?
Sure, I'd like to comment. Just, we as planners, we look at these different districts. We spend a lot of time discovering what we have in our township and how these districts fit within them. And one thing that is sort of the golden rule, that's been a golden rule for planning in forever, is you never want to upzone. Right? So we're looking at an R1D neighborhood. To upzone that to a 2-family on one lot, I think that sets a false, sense of the R1D district. So, we've talked about it before. It's easy to downzone, but it's difficult to upzone.
Thank you. Anyone else? Standard number 2, the proposed use shall be of nature that will make vehicular and pedestrian traffic no more hazardous than is normal for the district involved, taking into consideration vehicular turning movements in relation to routes of traffic flow, proximity in relationship to intersections, adequacy of site distance, location and access of off-street parking, and provisions for pedestrian traffic, with particular attention to minimizing pedestrian vehicle conflicts. Well, I think we know this is a tight turn. It's a popular corner. You lose sight as you round it.
I would agree with that. I think adding 2 units inherently causes more traffic. Also being that it's a waterfront property, likely they're going to be boat owners and having people visit. And it, like Commissioner Devlin said, the lot inherently doesn't offer that extra parking necessary and extra turning out of there and in there. I know they're sharing one driveway, but onto Jefferson, but still, I would just see, I think it fails to meet that standard.
So I see issues with parking, especially with 2 units. There's really, if it was 1 unit, you could put a double or triple lane driveway, you could turn around, you could park. There's no parking in that area, so any guests, so now you have not necessarily double the people, but you may have double the guests on holidays, and where do you park? So I think parking becomes a challenge when you add both units.
There's a lot of water frontage as well there, so there could be multiple boats stored.
Okay.
I know they're talking about no parking signs on the common drive. We have those all over the township, and I know enforcement's an issue, but they're not always followed. One unit could block in the other. The other thing is the unit next door, and you look at some of the other units around it, tend to have, where they can, circular drives or a place to back up, so you're not trying to back out into a dangerous corner. They're actually, now, while the property next door may be using actually this property, they are stopping that unit from having basically a circle driveway, along with adding more traffic right on that corner. I have a problem with the two units and the cars and movement of cars and everything that would be involved there on that corner.
Thank you, Mr. Mulder. Anyone else? Standard 3, the proposed use shall be designed as to the location, size, intensity, site layout, and periods of operation of any such proposed use to eliminate any possible nuisance emanating thereof, which might be noxious to the occupants, or any other nearby uses permitted, whether by reason of dust, noise, fumes, vibrations, smoke, or lights.
I don't see that this really creates any addition. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
I don't
agree.
see that being applied.
Yeah, I would agree with Adam's comment
Yeah.
too, that the architectural concepts
Right.
would generally fit in with the
Okay.
surrounding area.
Standard 4, the proposed use shall be such that the proposed location and height of building and structures and location, nature and height of walls, fences, and landscaping will not interfere with or discourage the appropriate development and use of adjacent land and buildings, or unreasonably affect their value. Standard 5, the proposed use shall relate harmoniously with the physical and economic aspects of adjacent land uses in regard to prevailing shopping habits, convenience of access by prospective patrons, continuity of development, and need for particular services and facilities in specific areas of the township. Standard 6, the proposed use will service a public convenience at the proposed location. Standard 7, the proposed use is so designed, the proposed use is so designated, located, planned, and operated so that the public health, safety, and welfare will be protected.
So I think we talked about that it could impact safety. Ingress, egress.
Standard 8, the proposed use shall not cause substantial injury to the value of other property in the vicinity in which it is to be located and will not be detrimental to existing and/or permitted land uses in the zoning district.
I feel a single-family home can be built in a single-family district, and property values would not be impacted.
Okay. Those are our 8 standards. We find that this application does not meet standards 1, 2, 7, and 8. Any additional comments from the commissioners?
I just find this very interesting. As a condo development with 2 units, from an HOA or a resident perspective, it's always half and half fighting, and I don't know how you settle anything. This is a waterfront property on the water. If there's seawalls, now you have 2 people that basically have equal say fighting over whether or not to replace, to repair. I also find the layout very interesting with the common space being in the front yard, where you can basically walk as common area around the 2 houses, where the individual lawn units are in the back, instead of the backyard being the common space along the water. And just the driveway situation, the entrance with a single drive shared, I just find it hard to wrap my head around how this doesn't create problems in the future for the, anyone that purchased one of these 2 units if they are approved.
For both condo owners,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, one
Yeah,
person
I
gets a
agree.
lot more yard and water frontage.
Any other comments from the commissioners? Okay, we have another, this is a two-parter. We have a motion needed for the special land use and then for the preliminary site plan. So I'm just going to throw this out there. If we say no to the special land use, do we even need to consider the preliminary site plan?
You need to make a.
Okay, got it. All right,
Or just make that motion.
yeah. Put that in.
Because-
Okay, got it. All right, we do have additional information provided to us this evening. A letter of opposition from, I think it's another resident. Yep, and,
You may want to just state their name
yeah, I could.
for the record.
Yeah, I could for the
And they
record.
Are objecting.
Yeah, Carol Mazurek on Lampier objects. And then we also were provided by the applicant, thank you, her comments, answers to the 8 standards, referencing an opposition from someone, from Robert Rappold, who lives on Jefferson. So we will have those 2 brought into the record. And I think that's it. Okay, motion, please. And I have my cheat sheet if you need it.
I'll make a motion to deny the special land use based on the findings that we discussed with the 8 standards and not meeting all 8.
Mr. Mulder, would you mind adding to your motion what standards failed? Although we do have everything in the record, if we could just think that Carol has the numbers.
Yeah, I can reference 1, 2, and 1, 2, 7, and 8.
Yes. 1, 2, and, yes, basically 7 and 8 were part of, referenced with 1 and 2, so those are the 4 standards that it didn't meet.
I'll support that.
Okay, so Mr. Mulder, supported by Mr. Duncan. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So since that motion is to deny the special land use, and we should have put that into the motion.
I know, as soon as you,
Yeah.
as soon as you said aye.
There's no need to have the additional preliminary site plan review.
It'd be easier just to do them in motion.
Just do another motion? All right, let's just do that. Okay, Mr. Mulder, do you want to just go ahead and add an additional?
Yeah, I will make another motion to not
This is
recommend the,
preliminary site plan review.
deny the site plan review based on the denial of the special land use.
Mr. Duncan seconds. Okay, any discussion on that motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Singus. Okay, the next item, old business, accessory building regulations discussion. And this was from the last meeting, and I believe a previous
Last
meeting.
couple of meetings, yes.
Yeah. We've got, okay, all right, that's our old business, and then we'll address the temporary structure. May I please ask you to take the conversation outside so that we can finish? Thank you.
Okay, we have a memo for you with regard to this ongoing discussion carried over from the last couple of planning commission meetings. We're discussing regulations for accessory buildings and whether it is needed to make any changes. The last couple of months' discussions focused largely on the boathouse idea. And then we also added a new topic of carport. Felt that also needed to be addressed. So changes from the prior draft are highlighted in yellow. So one of the comments first is that we should make sure that we appropriately define what a carport is if we're going to talk about it. Actually, we did have in our zoning ordinance an existing definition. It's that first sentence there. But that I felt, based on review of some other definitions that I had found, that maybe we could clean it up a little bit and clarify. There's the link. I'll bring it up on screen so people in the audience can see it a little bit better. A new definition, I thought this would be better, would be open-sided vehicle shelter, usually but not always, formed by the extension of the roof from the side of a building. A carport shall be considered both an outdoor parking space and an accessory structure. With that defined, then we can add one statement here under the accessory building requirements for single-family residential districts, which I hope captures the intent of the discussion last month. Where a carport is structurally attached to a main building, it shall conform to all regulations of this ordinance applicable to the main building. So it'd be considered a part of the principal structure. It would need to be principal structure setbacks. But any detached carport shall only be placed on a paved surface. That was one item that we wanted to make clear. Must be attached to a permanent foundation, so it isn't a temporary movable type structure. And must adhere to all other requirements applicable to detached accessory buildings. Size, height, setbacks, placement in the rear yard only, things of that nature. So that's the change or the addition to more properly address a carport if it is a detached carport.
Can I throw a question out, or is it too soon?
Let's do it.
Did the term freestanding come into play at all? Freestanding carport?
Well,
Or is that essentially?
Yeah, so we're kind of addressing that and recognizing that a carport can be both attached to the principal structure or it can be detached.
Okay, all right.
So
the
detached
detached
freestanding
covers it.
would be kind of
Okay, got it.
a similar statement there, yeah. And so really what we're talking about is if it's a freestanding or if it's a detached accessory structure, then these are the rules.
Thank you. So if it's attached to the building, these rules don't apply?
That's correct. It would be the same rules for principal structure.
Okay.
Height,
Yeah.
principal building setbacks.
I'm just,
location
yeah,
on the
I'm just
property.
thinking through it. My
Yeah.
first home had a carport that.
Attached to the home.
Attached to the home. right?
Correct,
It
right.
was built in the 50s and it wasn't even functional for a car. I
Yeah.
don't think could fit under it. But
So I think that's probably why the definition was first introduced under that premise. But now what we're seeing, and the reason why the discussion came up, is we're seeing more of an influx of these kind of temporary, almost, canvas style tents that are used practically as a garage.
hence the need for indoor boat and
Correct.
car and RV storage.
Correct.
Here and a little
The other change is going back to the idea of boathouse and covered boat wells. So if you remember, there's a maximum number of detached build accessory structures that can be permitted per site. That's 2. That's what the ordinance says presently. And there's the question of, well, does a covered boat well count toward the maximum number? And we had felt that a single, and this is kind of the clarification here, is that we want to make sure the language is clear, that a single covered boat well shall not count toward the maximum number of detached accessory structures. So you could have a gazebo and you could have a shed and a single covered boat well, and you're still not exceeding the limit of 2. However, we did say that, hey, if you want to, try and get around the ordinance by putting up multiple of them. That's not our intent here. So we would say, however, any additional covered boat wells. And we also said that a boathouse being fully enclosed or enclosed on sides, that would be closer to, you know, a shed or other accessory structure. So that wouldn't be exempted. So that's the language here.
Does it state that the covered boat well has to be open on all four sides?
Yes, in the
Okay.
definition.
Okay,
That's correct.
okay.
No sides. Whereas a boathouse could be fully or partially sided. And then similarly, there's a maximum floor area permitted for the total of all detached accessory buildings on a lot. And we indicated that a single covered boat well shall not count toward that maximum. But any additional covered boat wells and any boat houses do count toward that maximum. So just providing clarification in that way. Those are the changes and additions from last month.
So I'm fine with the boat well part. The part I'm struggling with is the carport, where the first portion there, the first definition.
Yep.
An open-sided shelter, but not always formed by the extension of the roof from the side of the building. So is that saying it doesn't have to be part of the building?
Correct.
So freestanding.
So you could have a
freestanding.
detached carport.
And it would be treated as an accessory structure.
Correct.
And
I
it
thought
wouldn't
somewhere
have-
else we don't allow accessory structures in the front yard.
That's correct.
So then how would a carport unattached ever be located?
It had to be in the side or rear yard.
Side or rear yard.
We talked about that at the last.
Oh, sorry.
And because that is what's happening, that you're seeing with some of these kind of temporary tent canvas things that they're
Right.
putting in the back and, you know, or sometimes in the front too. And we
A lot of
definitely
times
want
in
to
the
disallow
front.
that.
Okay.
More times than necessary in the front.
Ultimately, we would need to schedule a public hearing to gain public comment on this.
Were we still waiting for more ordinance amendments? I know we talked about that at one point, that we would wait till we had a group of them, or Larry, I think that was.
I don't know how the timing or urgency is for this. I don't think we have any in the queue, so to speak.
Yeah, I would be fine with moving to.
Yeah, I
public
think
hearing.
weren't we gonna have a workshop? Where we were gonna maybe talk about,
The board, township board talked about having a workshop, but that's on the package of amendments that we had already
no, I
recommended
understand
forward.
that, and maybe, I don't know if we wanna wait for that. I don't know if that's gonna go toward regulatory or,
Right.
I don't know if we
Either
wanna
way,
wait.
because waiting with this wouldn't affect that, because we have to hold a new public hearing for this.
Right.
So I think the only reason why we would wait is if it's not urgent, and we wanted to give time for some other new text amendment to pop up, but we don't have any on the to-do list, so to speak.
I'm fine with moving forward with the public hearing. Anybody else opposed to that? Moving forward with the public hearing on these two things?
I think it's clear, I think it's a lot of words to say, it's a lot of words to make it very precise, but we're kind of forced into that situation though, so that there's no confusion.
So, do we need to make a motion for that?
I would, if you wanted to make a motion,
I will make a motion to schedule a public hearing for the accessory buildings proposed zoning ordinance amendments.
I'll support. Schedule a public hearing.
Do I need to say for next
Park
meeting?
and Dublin.
Okay.
Okay, motion to schedule a public hearing to discuss the
the
Accessory
proposed
building
amendments,
regulations.
or the amendments as proposed.
The
Okay.
amendments as proposed.
All right.
Supported by Ms. Devlin. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we'll schedule a public hearing. Okay, anything additional for old business? New business? None. correspondence. Comments from the planner?
Okay, and we do have, coming from the clerk's department, we have a proposal for temporary fireworks sales. This is a similar application. We've seen this every year. It's essentially the one and only, I suppose, in Harrison Township here. This is from Ali Luwabi at Captain's Party Store on North River Road. They have, as you may recall, should probably rotate this so that here's North River Road. North is up on the map, and they are going to do their tent right off of the parking area in this grassy area here. So the procedure for fireworks requests, they come first to the clerk's department, and then the clerk forwards the copy of the application to the planning commission, who shall determine whether the proposed activity is consistent with the uses permitted within the zoning district. This property is zoned commercial, and the planning commission shall endorse approval or disapproval of the use and return it to the township clerk.
I'll make a motion that this fireworks stand fits within the township standards in the district, and I would approve the use.
Mr. Tominello, supported by Mr. Duncan, to approve, since it meets the requirements for a temporary installation. A repeat.
Yeah, just ask Melody. We've never had any complaints.
Thanks,
on
I was
this.
going to do that as well, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, great. Any discussion on that motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye? Opposed? Motion carries. Comments from the floor?
I do have one more,
Oh,
just from the
sorry,
planner's comments.
Mr. Pardon, one moment.
From the tech team meeting, we had a meeting last week. It was a request for a new cell tower. This is from Tower Co. as the applicant. I don't know what carrier. They didn't mention specifically what carrier. The site that they were looking at had some challenges and concerns, but we talked about those challenges and concerns. They are also actively looking for other options in the area. This is kind of in the central portion of the township where they believe coverage is weak
lacking.
or there's lacking.
Must be Verizon.
And so they're looking to find a solution by installing a new tower. The ordinance does first suggest that you look for other structures, co-location on existing towers, or antennas on existing buildings, or looking for potentially a tower on public property or township property first. So all of those things were discussed.
Okay.
Obviously, any new tower proposal would need to come before the planning.
Oh, good.
Discussion only, no decision made.
Foot in the door. Anything else?
That's all I have, thank you.
Okay.
Is there a workshop, I noticed it on the sign out front for June 15th for the township board to hold a workshop?
That's township board, yes.
Yes, but it's for the,
We have quite a few things we need to discuss.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't see it on the calendar, it caught my eye because I saw it out front.
Nothing you want to share, Larry?
Well, one of them I can tell you is from the short-term rentals, that's one of them. We may be talking, about, some of the plans that we're working with in the new proposed new building. So the supervisor has a list of things that we need to talk about in the workshop. I don't have the agenda yet.
Okay. Well, that's not a surprise, the short-term rentals at any rate. But you'd be discussing it.
Happy about
Not a
that.
surprise.
Anything else? Comments from the floor? 3 minutes, please, Mr. Bardell.
Yeah, C. William Bardell, clean cut, do-gooder boy next door, clean up, fix up, people helping people. Just want to make a remark. I just hope that they don't plan on putting a cell tower in our 155 acres like they tried last time. I sure pray to Jesus that they're not going to try to pull that stunt again. The other thing I want to talk about is this case number with this guy with this 24-unit boat RV storage condominium. I just want to tell you, when the gentleman first came out and wanted to do this, he was selling it on that he was going to sell these units and people were going to own them. So now he's saying that they're going to rent them out. I'm very happy that he's at least trying to build it to the general commercial standard. But the other thing I want to say is, I believe you should have trees on that west side. Because you got trees on all three sides except that one side. I think that's going to look kind of funky. If they can move that thing over 10 feet, the whole job over 10 feet, and then put trees on the other side, or have a softening area between his 24-unit boat hotel and the boat showroom. If you had a 10-foot softening area where you could put trees on that west side, I think that would look good. Or move the whole project west 10 feet so you can put the greenery in there. Or like I said, ask the guy that owns the boat place if you can have 10 foot to put trees up, and make it look nice so you got trees on all sides. Because when you're coming east on Metro Parkway, that's going to look kind of funky having trees on three sides. The other thing I want to say is, I know there's been a lot of talk about the Airbnbs, and I just want to tell you that you would think if I was an Airbnb owner, I would keep a low profile and I would keep all my stuff tight, but that's not what's happening. What we're seeing now as this Airbnb thing is getting pushed back for whatever reason, I understand. It's the same thing every weekend. 10 trailers on the grass, parking all over the grass, front doors open, no storm doors, the front doors wide open, no storm doors, unpainted window sashes, lawns that are a foot tall. They're not regulating themselves. It continues. The Airbnb crisis continues, okay? And that's one of the things and one of the reasons why I talk about people coming in our township, pillaging our beautiful township. They haven't learned anything, okay? They're still doing the same thing. 8 trailers on the lawn, doors wide open. Every weekend's the same thing. Parking all over the grass. It's not one boat, one trailer. It's 3 boats, 3 trailers, 6 big fancy trucks parked all over the place. So they're coming here slumming it.
Thank you, Mr.
I don't know. We got to live here. So thank you so much for listening, and thank you for at least trying to do something. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other, please?
I'm David Drurick. I live at 38020 Villamar. I also have a covered boat well living on a canal. I am very much against changing anything in the ordinance regards to a covered boat well and its association with accessory building relief. They are large, they are opaque, you can't see through boats. Anyways, today I sent an email letter via Melody, and Melody, if you please correct my phone number, typo last digit, 810-710-0204. I have 3 paths of logic in my correspondence to you. Please, I request that you read it in depth, and if you have questions, I am more than willing to talk to you individually or together, but I know it can't be any more than 2 at a time because you don't want to violate the sunshine law of the state of Michigan. Thank you.
Thank you. The workshop will be publicly noted for everyone to participate in. Okay. Thank you. Any other comments from the floor? Okay, our next meeting is Thursday, June 18th, 2026. May I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
Aye.
Wait a minute, slow down. That was Mulder?
Yes.
Okay.
I know, it's confusing. We sound alike.
lady that was here, she left her things here. I think it's Miss Dingus.
Oh, I wonder if she's in the parking lot still. Yeah, and if not, we'll have, maybe take it to the office so she can, thank you very much. Yeah, we'll take it to, if she's not in the parking lot, we'll take it to the office. Good grief, 9:22.
Actually,
I mean, I think this was pretty fast.
Pretty fast.
For as many items as we had. I'm impressed by our speed.
Yeah, I am too. It's nice to be retired. I actually have a ton of time now.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, God, yes, right?
1 in the morning last week.
Oh, where were you at? Washington Township?
Oh, Van Buren.
Wait, I-
Nice.
Other than that township